fish report. Hanging at the fish report. Hanging at the fish report. Hanging at the fish report. For your latest news in high school sports, tune in to the fish report. Don't need no bed, don't need no pull when you tune in to the fish report. Hanging at the fish report. Hanging at the fish report. You got Craig and TK and Head that D tuned in at the fish report.
Coming to you live from Studio F in Russia, Ohio. It's the Fish Report Live Show with your hosts, Craig Fissinger and Ken Francis.
Welcome, everyone, to another Fish Report Live. In case you forgot, I'm Craig Fissinger. That's Ken Francis, back in our sound room, our TK and Heavy D. And Ken, it's good to be back on the air. Took our customary break between the fall and winter sports season. And I don't think a lot of viewers out there realize this, but when we don't have the show going on, we don't see each other a whole lot. So we had a lot of catching up to do before the show and before we got started here tonight. I think the biggest thing we talked about tonight was, of course, when the Fish Report Live Christmas party was going to be this year.
Well, Craig, it has been a while. We took 3 weeks off. It's kind of nice. We get new topics. We come up with new ideas for the show. And you're right. We did talk about the Fish Report Christmas party, but unless I missed it, I still don't think we have that planned yet. So,
No.
But yeah, great to be back on the show again tonight, Craig. Really looking forward to tonight. We're going to talk live on the phone with Russia head girls basketball coach Tim Hatcher. He's got his girls off to a fine start this season, Craig. They're sitting at 2-1 on the season right now. And Craig, also really looking forward to this. We're going to have our first ever live debate. We're kind of shifting gears a little bit, and I'll let you tell the viewers a little bit more about that.
Well, yeah, we're just going to mix it up a little bit, kind of a new segment we're going to start, and we got 5 different topics we're going to debate. I'm going to get the sound room guys involved in that too, so yeah, definitely looking forward to that coming up, as well as that interview with like you said, Russia coach Tim Hatcher. But before we get to that, just like we do every week on our show, we have a weekly poll question. Why don't you tell our viewers what this week's poll question is?
Well, Craig, it's early December, and the only postseason really thing going on right now is football, high school football. And you'll believe this, there's 3 MAC teams left still in the state football championship. And just like last year, they had 3 state champions, Craig. This year, who of those MAC teams is going to bring home the state championship? Is it going to be Marion Local, Coldwater, Fort Recovery, or all 3 of them?
All right, great question there. And if you remember, at the end of our fall season there 3 weeks ago, had sports reporter Colin Foster on the show, and we asked him how many teams would win state championships. I believe he said all 3. He said there was going to be 3 that won it. So, but yeah, who's got the best chance? That's the poll question tonight.
That's right. And Minster was right in there. They got knocked off by Fort Recovery, and that's what Colin Foster had said, so he was right on. They got a chance to get 3 more this weekend.
All right. Well, if you're watching us on the Fish Report Live page, you can help us answer that poll question by scrolling down, giving us your answer and checking the results out there. Or you can, if you're watching us on NK Telco or Game Face Ohio, Ken and I will have those results for you at the end of the show. All right, Ken, well, let's get things started. And like I said, one more fall sport to get out of the way, and that is football. 3 local teams going for a state championship this weekend. MAC teams all hoping to win like they did last year. Let's take a look at this weekend's schedule and see exactly when those schools are playing.
Well, Craig, 2 of them are going to take the field on Friday. The first game will be Friday morning, 10 a.m. The Coldwater Cavaliers, Craig, they'll be taking on Canton Central Catholic. The next game, the 3 o'clock game on Friday, Craig, has the Fort Recovery Indians taking on Mogadore, and that'll be in the Division 7 game. And then come back Saturday to watch the Marion Local Flyers, their Division 6 this year. They'll be taking on Kirkland, a team that's been there several times as well, so that'll be a real interesting game as well. So look for 3 great state championships there, Craig, and best of luck to all 3 MAC schools.
All right, we're going to talk more about those MAC schools here in just a little bit, but let's change gears real quick to basketball. Just got basketball underway. The girls have been playing for a couple weeks now, the boys for just a week, but let's start. Of course, the MAC boys haven't started yet because of all that football success, so let's check out the MAC girls right now, see where they're sitting at in the standings.
Well, Craig, some of the MAC girls have got Marion Local sitting there. They've got 4 games in already, sitting at 4-0. Minster had a big win last night actually against Versailles. They're sitting at 1-0 in the league. Them and Versailles actually the only ones to play a league game so far. So, a lot of things will take shape over the next couple weeks in those MAC girls standings.
All right, and let's jump ahead and talk some SCAL basketball, and let's take a look at the SCAL girls. Of course, they've got a couple weeks under their belt. Where are they at right now, Ken?
Well, Craig, it's very early in the season, but the more things change, the more they stay the same. Top two teams, Anna and Fort Loramie, both sitting 3-0 and 2-0 respectively in the league. Jackson Center girls, Craig, I think are going to be successful this year. They're just coming off a state championship in volleyball, so they're getting off to a little bit of a slow start. And, Craig, don't dwell on the Russia Raiders. I've seen them play twice now. Very scrappy, very competitive team sitting at 1-0 in the league. So it's going to be a real interesting fight as the season goes on.
All right, and then we also have the SCAL boys, and I mentioned the MAC not playing at all yet this year. Of course, they have played a little bit. A couple teams have played. Russia played St. Henry the other night, but let's look at the league standings and see where the SCAL boys are at.
Well, Craig, it's very early before we try to shake things out of this, but I can tell you this is going to be a very balanced league this year. I think Anna's going to be very strong. Jackson's going to be very strong. Russia and Botkins, and I think Fort Loramie is going to be very good. So I think you got 5 or 6 teams there, including Fairlawn. I didn't mean to leave them out. Also a very good team this year. So even though they're sitting at 0-2, they lost to a very good Russia team. They also lost to a very good Triad team by only 1 point. So we'll let things shake out there. But again, I look for a very balanced league this year in the Shelby County League.
I couldn't agree more, and like a lot to watch there, and we'll watch that unfold as the season goes on.
Yeah, the past couple years, Craig, we've had a real dominant team, and I think Russia and Jackson Center pretty much took care of the league standings the last couple years. This year, look for 4 or 5 teams to be right up there in the mix of it.
All right. Well, Ken, that's going to take us to our new segment, as I mentioned at the top of the show, and you and I like to debate on things here on the show. Occasionally, we get the sound room guys involved. I thought we should get all 4 of us involved in this, and I've picked 5 subjects. And I want to debate on these 5 subjects, and I'm calling this debate or this segment 5 for Fighting. Okay. Now, I don't know if you remember, but back in the early 2000s, mid 2000s, there was a band called 5 for Fighting. Mm-hmm. I don't know if you remember them at all or not.
I remember.
We might even have some 5 for Fighting back there in the sound room, guys. I don't know if you can cue anything up on 5 for Fighting, but I want us to fight for our opinions on these 5 songs.
This sounds like fun. I can go with this.
We're gonna see how this goes, and like I said, we got 5 subjects, and I think I hear a little 5 for Fighting back there right now.
I do.
Well, we got a little bit of everything back here.
There we go.
Sound room guys, they're ready to go.
They're on top of it. But yeah, that's 5 for Fighting. A little bit of a soft rock, I think. Maybe pop. I don't know what you call that exactly. I imagine you were dancing with someone back in the early 2000s.
I don't know about that, but maybe.
All right, well, that's good stuff. And like I said, we're going to call this segment 5 for Fighting, and I'll get things started. And our first subject tonight is going to be, I call it MAC Attack. And we just talked about the MAC sending 3 teams to the state finals, hoping for 3 state championships. But I want to know, what's the most amazing thing about these 3 teams going to the state finals? And I'll start things out. I think the most amazing thing is not Marion Local going for a 5-peat or anything that Coldwater's done, but the fact that Fort Recovery, after having, I think, one winning season maybe in the history of their program, and or one playoff win coming last year, they're in the state finals now. They like I said, of all the amazing facts about these MAC teams, I think the fact that Fort Recovery is playing the state finals is the most amazing thing. Agree or disagree?
Well, Craig, that is amazing, but they've got some good athletes. They're very good. They were in the state in baseball last year. I think the most amazing thing, Craig, about the MAC Attack is that success builds success. You look at Marion Local, they're going for their 5th straight state championship. The Coldwater Cavaliers, Craig, they've been in the state finals 6 consecutive years. Can you imagine? 6 straight years. And last year, the MAC won 3 state championships. They're going for 3 more this year. The success builds success. The MAC's just got the best small school football conference, not in Ohio, Craig, I think in the nation.
Guys, sound room guys, come on, chime in here. What do you got? You agree with me or Ken, or you got your own thing here?
Pound for pound, the boys up in that area, they eat a lot of beef. They don't eat a lot of fish and chicken, and they're built to play football. They eat a lot of corn, and I just think it's a natural fit for them.
So your most amazing fact is their diet, then?
Yeah.
The diet they have. Okay, all right. TK, can you one-up that, or?
I'm not sure if I can one-up diet, but can't argue with Ken. Success breeds success all across the board. You see it in a lot of leagues and a lot of places, and MAC just seems to know how to build on it. They keep their coaches in there, and they just keep going year after year.
Okay, all right. Well, let's move ahead. And the next subject we got is called 7 divisions. And, speaking of MAC football, they've got, like I said, 3 state titles last year, going for 3 this year. And part of that reason, of course, is the fact that there are 7 divisions in football. And I want to know, you look at basketball. I think there's more basketball teams in the state of Ohio than there are football teams. I know a lot of schools that have basketball that don't have football. And we got 4 divisions in girls and boys basketball. Why can't we go to 7? I say we go to 7 divisions, 7 state titles in basketball. It's successful for football. Let's do it for basketball.
Well, Craig, I got to agree with you a little bit on this one. I mean, let's call Tim Stribe. We had him on our show a couple of weeks ago, for gosh sakes. Maybe we can go to Tim and say, Tim, hey, come on, man, give us 7 divisions. How about 7 divisions in golf? How about 7 divisions in cross country? Yeah. This is just ridiculous. It's so watered down anymore. All these teams, I mean, you've got, I agree. Let's go to more divisions in basketball. I think, Craig, it's all about the money that's going into the budget.
Well,
bottom line.
I think we go for 7 divisions. Guys, any thoughts on that?
It doesn't surprise me. This mamby-pamby nanny state that we live in today, let's just give everybody a state championship and a participation ribbon.
We'll just go from there.
All right. Well, let's move ahead then and talk about 1,000 points. And a couple weeks ago, Fairlawn's junior Audrey Francis was scored her 1,000 points beginning of her junior year, and want to say congrats to her on that. Doing it at the beginning of her junior year, she's got a long way to go yet, almost 2 full years. Depending on if they can make any kind of tournament run in the next couple years, she very well could have 2,000 points. I don't want to take nothing away from Audrey. Again, congratulations to her on that. But there's been a lot of 1,000-point scores here, and I want to know, does it mean as much as it once did? Back in '87, I believe it was, when we got the 3-point line, kids were scoring more as a result of that. We went to a 22-game regular season here several years ago. Gives them more games to score. I don't think it means as much as it once did.
Craig, I think it does. The 22 games, I agree, it definitely helps these kids get more points. Totally agree. The 3-point line, yeah, a little bit. But, 1,000 points, Craig, that's a lot of points. If you're going to play as a sophomore, you got to be pretty good. You have to be very talented to play as a sophomore. You play your sophomore through your senior year, you got to play 7. If you play 75 games of basketball, that's 25 a year. That's making a decent tournament run. You still have to average 14 points a game to get 1,000, playing 75 games. That's a lot of points. And you have to stay healthy the whole time through. And, if you look back the olden days, the gyms were smaller. Now today the gyms are longer. They're bigger. A lot of gyms are 94 feet. Some gyms, they're expanding the floor length. That makes for less possessions. I think it's just as tough today, albeit the 22 games does help these kids get to the 1,000-point club.
I agree with Ken. Audrey Francis has earned every point she's ever gotten on the hard court. I mean, she's watched her brother and sister exceed that 1,000-point mark, and that girl's had a ball in her hand since probably as old as she could walk, and she's one of the smaller girls out there. She's aggressive. She's tough as nails. I averaged about 1.5 points a game. I had to work pretty hard for that. So to average 14 points a game for 3 years, that's awesome.
I don't want to take anything away from Audrey. She's a heck of an athlete, probably one of the best athletes in the SCL on the girls' side. Maybe even throw her in the boys' side, and she's a heck of an athlete there. But I think part of her success is bad officiating. If you go to a girls' game, most of them are bad. You lean in, but she's learned how to do it, so I can't take it away from Audrey. You lean in, you get the foul called, she goes to the line, she probably shoots 90%, so that's a good athlete that's making and taking advantage of what she's given, but it's bad officiating, and it should be stopped.
All right. Let's move ahead, guys. Speaking of great girls in the SCAL, let's talk about some of the top girls in the SCAL. And again, we've just started here. We're a couple weeks into the season, but so far, these first couple weeks, Ken, I'll start with you. Who's your top girl in your opinion?
Well, Craig, my top girl in the area is going to be Jessica Berger, the 5'10 senior from Fort Loramie. She helped lead the Redskins to a state championship last year, Craig. They had a big win over Tip City. She had a near triple-double in that game. I think she's one of the top girls in the area. She's going to be tough to stop. She's going to lead the Redskins to another long tournament run.
Guys, who you got?
I've been watching Maria Heron for the last couple of years, and I know she's played a lot of ball with Audrey Francis over the years, and those two are kind of cut from the same mold. Maria's developed a spin move to get herself open and take the ball to the hoop. She was a good player last year. She's a great player this year, hitting the long threes, taking the ball to the hoop, getting in there fighting for the rebounds. I look for Maria Heron to be right up there on top of all the standings.
TK, you going to agree with Heavy D or?
I have to agree with him there. It's another one of those great athletes. Probably, if you ask Maria, this isn't even her top sport. I think she's more in love with her softball, but she's a heck of a basketball player just because she's a great athlete.
All right, and you were talking about Audrey Francis back there a little bit ago. She's not bad as well, but I'm going to pick a girl that I don't even know if you guys are aware of, but she's a 6'1 junior over at Anna, a girl by the name of Claire Spicer. And before you give me a hard time about this girl, they're 3-0 right now. This girl had 13 points in their opening game against New Bremen, 13 against Bachens, been their leading scorer, and then she had 15 on Tuesday night against Fairlawn, I believe. And, she's their leading scorer over there, and this is a team that has girls like Nicole Barhorse, Avery Bensman, very good players. She's their leading scorer. Claire Spicer, my best player in the SCAL the first couple weeks.
She's throwing the numbers out. Can't argue that. I'm going to talk about boys now. Can we go to the boys next?
Sure, let's go.
Okay,
boys.
I'm going to talk about the straw that stirs the drink up there in Jackson Center. Drew Sosby. He's Coach Alkert's main man, Craig. This kid is tough as nails. He's the motor that runs the engine up there, and he can absolutely get it done. He had one of the biggest shots in the Ohio High School basketball tournament last year to knock off a Troy Christian basketball team. He had 25 points opening night, Craig, against a very tenacious Fort Loramie defense. Drew Sosby, my top boy basketball player.
Sound room guys, what do you got?
I have to go with, right now, sophomore Wyatt Bensman at Anna. A kid that most people probably didn't even notice last year as a JV player, but this year he put his heart into some basketball. He's been playing a little bit with Justin Arns and a lot of AAU games up there to build on his quality of basketball. He started out the year by getting honorable mention in the backfield and MAC football, and then runs right into basketball and throws up 22 points the other night. So he is a kid to watch.
Yeah, he had a big game Friday night. Again, a big win against Bachens. Heavy D, what about you?
I'm still struggling to find out with all the Francises in Russia how Audrey Francis doesn't go to Russia school. How is that, Ken? Don't you have some pull there? Somewhere up the family tree or something there?
I don't know. I'll have to work on that one, Heavy D.
A little salty about that.
All right, well, I'm going to go. I think you both are nuts, and I'm going to go with a kid over there at Bachens right now, Chad Bergman, and he's a 6'7 senior over there. And this guy, from what I've told, they just lob it in this guy, and he puts it in the bucket. But 23 points and a loss versus White Bensman over there at Anna, but 15 points and a win. Came back Saturday night, 15 points and a win against Parkway. They're 1-1 right now. They travel to Fort Loramie on Friday night, so we'll see how well Bergman does against Tyler Siegel over there, and that should be a good matchup. But he's my top boy the first week of the season. All right, so that was our Five for Fighting segment, and yeah, you have a little fun.
Loved it. How about you guys in the sound room? Do you like that?
That was pretty good.
That's good
All
stuff.
right, well we'll look forward to doing that maybe next week. See how it goes again next week. But there's our little Five for Fighting, and as we listen to that, we're going to take a short break, but stay right there because when we come back, we're back to our interviews, and we're going to interview Russia Lady Raiders coach Tim Hatcher. Stay there. We'll be right back.
Stage at the Leaping Band. Music starts at 8 o'clock. You can find us here every Wednesday night. It's usually the same cats every week, but I can't tell you all their names. Teacher, cat, and a junkie, all waiting for time to play. Everybody here's got something that we're trying to leave behind. We're all a little broken, for a place to hide. Get no answers, don't ask any questions. We're we're all here just looking for a high. Yeah, we're all beautifully broken here tonight.
All right, welcome back to the second half of Fish Report Live. And before the break, we were talking some football, a little basketball. We had a little fun with our new segment that we debated on several different subjects. And Ken, the second half of the show, we're going to get back to what we do best, and that is interviews. Before the break, we were talking about Russia Lady Raiders basketball, and they're off to a little bit of a good start, a 2-1 start. And this was a team last year that made it to the regional semifinals, so you'd expect big things out of them this year. But I'm kind of calling them a surprise team this year.
Yeah, Craig, I would have to agree with you. That very good team last year, although they lost a lot of seniors off that team, Craig. And then a couple of the returning girls that they had chose not to go out this year. So they've only got 9 girls in the whole program, Craig. No JV team. So I think they're catching a little, some of these teams off guard a little bit, thinking, hey, Russia's only got 9 girls. I don't think they're going to be that good. I'll tell you what, Coach Hatcher has these girls playing very good basketball right now. They play hard. They play as a team, and I've been real impressed with the 2 games I've seen.
All right, well, here to talk about that with us live right now is the head coach of the Lady Raiders, Tim Hatcher. Coach, welcome to Fish Report Live, and thanks for joining us.
Hello?
Yeah. Coach, welcome to Fish Report Live. Thanks for joining us tonight.
Oh, thanks. Take that.
All right, well, listen, congrats on the nice start to the season. We just mentioned your 2-1 start, and I want to go back to the coach before the season started, and you realized, I know there it was a little bit of a surprise to you when you didn't have enough girls to field a junior varsity team. What did you tell your current girls to keep it positive and to move forward with just enough girls for a varsity team?
I'm sorry, Chris. You're breaking up really bad.
We had a bad connection, I believe.
All right, well, Coach, can you hear us okay now?
Barely.
Okay.
I'm getting a lot of feedback.
Okay, well, we're going to work on that, and we'll let the sound room guys work on that, and we'll get back to you here in just a second. But
okay, thank you.
All right, Ken, like I said, these girls right now, off to, like I said, a little bit of a surprise start. They're doing it with actually one senior, a girl, Cassie Plyman, that didn't go out till a little bit, till almost the season started, but they're doing it with a couple good juniors right now, aren't they?
Yeah, they are, Craig. They're led by 2 junior captains, Tiffany Hatcher and Maria Heron, Craig. These 2 girls got a lot of experience already coming into this season. They're both, like you said, they're guards. They can both really shoot the 3. They handle the ball very well. I've been very impressed with their composure, especially against a very good Sydney team, a game in which, both girls played extremely well. They played as a team, and, they're doing very well right now.
And then we also have a lot of younger talent on this team and games that or players that people might not have heard of. Girls like Cameo Wilson and Jenna Cadonier, and Larissa Poling, a girl that's a freshman coming in and making a nice impact.
Absolutely, I've been very impressed with Larissa. She's a post player, and she's been doing very well inside. Jenna Cadonier as well. So I think we've got Coach Hatcher back on the phone here. Let's see if we got a better connection. Coach, can you hear us now?
Yes, I can.
All right, well, listen, we were asking you there when we thought we had you last time about the good start you've gotten off to at 2-1, and you came into this season, like I said, a little bit surprised with your numbers. You were down on numbers, just enough to field a varsity team, not enough for a junior varsity team. What did you tell your team, or what did you tell these girls to keep it positive and to move forward from there?
Well, I think, obviously, she's such a small community, and everybody is so tightly knit, and they're all friends. While it was disappointing that some of their ex-teammates and friends were not participating, there's still a lot of relationship and sharing feelings to these kids, and they understood some of the reasoning behind that. It was just one of the things that the kids that really wanted to get after it and play ball were there, and we're just like what we got from it. So the kids were pretty excited of the opportunity, and that's why they approached it. They sat there, okay, well, I'm going to get more minutes, I'm going to get more touches, I'm going to get more practice time. We'll what we got, and we'll give everything we have for it. So it's been a pretty positive approach by the kids. We didn't have to sell too much.
Coach, I've been very impressed with 2 of your leaders. They're both juniors, Maria Heron and Tiffany Hatcher. They're both returning lettermen. They've both been playing since they were freshmen. Tell us a little bit about those two girls and how they've been instrumental in the success of your team early on.
Yeah, they have both players, are coming along here, and they have, a lot of varsity time their freshman year. Maria missed 7 games due to a leg injury. And then obviously that increased the minutes for Tiff, and Maria got healthy, so they both got a lot of minutes throughout their freshman season. Maria started for us last year. Tiff got starting minutes coming off the bench. So they are the coaches on the floor, and I didn't really even have to go to them. They have taken that role on themselves. They are coaching these kids in practice. They are coaching them during games. They assist in breaking the plays down, and everybody knows that I've got quite a repertoire of offensive and defensive schemes, so they do a great job with these kids, walking them through every day, helping them when they get stuck, and keeping them going and keeping them positive. They did a lot of work with them during our scrimmages, but I think they probably gained a lot of confidence in a short period of time. And now there's a good constant season going out from that. A lot of this really does help. It makes it tough for us to get scouted. He's building the confidence of younger players. And they're seeing the results on the scoreboards.
Coach, let's talk a little bit about a couple of your younger players. Sophomore Cameo Wilson doing an excellent job inside for you, as well as freshman Larissa Poling and also freshman Jenna Cardonier, all giving you some valuable minutes. How important have they been to the success as well, and how are they learning from those upperclassmen?
Yeah, obviously, coming into the season, we're sitting here looking at probably 17 or 18 points coming back from a team that averaged 54, 55 points a game last year, with 5 games where we reached over 70. So had a little bit of about that. But ultimately, these kids have just really surprised the tar out of me. They accelerated. Cameo, we knew going in, could give us an advantage, particularly if she's got a post player Gardner, where she's going hard to the hole, putting the ball on the floor. She has that ability. She's got the text from under and drop steps and move around the back. And she's also got the ability to sit outside and she's actually close to a 3-inch time. We're going to be working with her over this next summer to stretch that out a little bit. The freshman class has brought a lot to the table. Words can't express how happy I am with this freshman class right now. Katie Ewing, that's a tiny little thing that just plays her heart out for us. She's in practice every night, giving all the effort that she can possibly get. She's learning the stuff. She's executing for us. We're working on getting stronger. Jenna Cordonier, she loves playing the point. She likes getting after it. She had a really nice game against Bradford, and I think really picked up some confidence there. We're trying to just get her from a guard position to understand the speed of the game. That is a tough transition from an 8th grade to a varsity game level for particularly a ball guard, a point guard position. Larissa Poling, with her length inside, and she's working on her footwork. She's getting quicker and better every day. Another girl that's getting much more confident. She's putting some points on the board. She's finishing very well around the basket. I thought she came in and played a very strong game against Sydney with their size and their strength. And again, I think a lot of confidence is coming along really quickly. It's much more quickly than all the coaches thought that we could possibly be at this stage of the game. So kudos to the kids, putting a lot of time, a lot of extra effort in, doing some brain work here, and they're picking it up as well.
All right, Coach. Hey, listen, that's great stuff, and we're running a little bit short on time here tonight, so we're going to. I know you got a big game coming up this Saturday against Anna, and I know you got better things to do than to talk to us. Probably got a little planning to do for that game. So, do want to say again, congratulations on the great start. Best of luck this Saturday against Anna, and thanks for joining us, Coach, tonight on the show.
Well, great. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it very much.
Thanks, Coach.
All right, that was the head coach of the Russia Lady Raiders, Tim Hatcher. Apologize for those audio problems. Got one more thing to work on for next week, Ken.
That's right.
All right, well, listen, that's going to about wrap it up for us tonight. Do want to get to tonight's poll question, and Ken, why don't you read the viewers the poll question again? We'll have TK and Heavy D check on the results.
Well, we were asking our listeners out there, Craig, to answer the poll question, which of the MAC schools will come home with a state championship this weekend in football? Is it Marion Local, Coldwater, Fort Recovery, or all three of them? TK, what's our responders say out there?
Sorry, I turned my mic down. We were fooling around back here. Sorry. 100% of the viewers that voted say all three teams will bring home a state championship this week.
All three of them. Well, you know what? It's hard to argue the success they've had over there in the MAC. They had 3 last year, Craig. You heard Colin Foster said a few weeks ago that they were going to get 3 again this year. They got 3 teams there. They got a darn good shot at it.
Yeah, they sure do. All right, and best of luck to those teams. We'll be watching this weekend. And I know TK and Heavy D were talking about a fall sport. The Jackson Center Tigers bringing home some more hardware for the SCAL, didn't they?
Yeah, congratulations to Coach Metz and the Lady Tigers. I know Coach Metz puts a lot of time and energy, not only into high school volleyball, but JO, very passionate. I've never seen anybody take more stats. Maybe Big Dog might take as many stats as Coach Metz, but I've seen her break clipboards. I've seen her demand the respect of her players, and they demand the same thing out of Coach Metz. And congratulations to the Lady Tigers on their first volleyball state championship.
I agree with that, Craig. You know, she's got a lot to be proud over there. They've been extremely successful. They got a great group of athletes, and hey, 2 in a row for the Shelby County League.
Yeah, are they? Can we now anoint them the best small school conference in volleyball in the state?
I believe so. I think so.
There might be some people argue with that. All right, well, listen, that's going to do it for us tonight. I do want to say special thanks to our guest, Russia girls coach Tim Hatcher. Ken and I and the crew will all be back again next week, same time, same place. Until then, have a great rest of the week, and good night, everyone.
Hanging at the fish report. 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 For your latest news in high school sports, tune in to the fish report. Don't need no bed, don't need no pull. When you tune in to the fish report. Hanging at the